Have you ever been called an overthinker? People say you analyze everything too much, that you can't just let things go. But here's the truth. What most people call overthinking is often a sign of high intelligence. It's your brain's way of diving deeper, connecting patterns, and making sense of a world that most people only glance at on the surface. Intelligent minds are naturally analytical. You don't just accept things as they are. You ask why, how, and what if. You might replay conversations in your head, analyzing tone and words. You might second-guess decisions, not because you're indecisive, but because you want to make the right one. You're not trying to complicate life. You're trying to understand it fully. That's what separates thinkers from reactors. This habit starts early. Smart individuals often spend a lot of time alone as children, thinking, observing, or imagining. While other kids jump into situations without hesitation, the intelligent child watches and studies before acting. That deep reflection becomes part of their wiring, a lifelong pattern of mental exploration. It's not that you think too much. It's that your mind simply doesn't stop. It's like having a search engine that's always running in the background, constantly scanning for connections, meanings, and hidden truths. When you lie awake at night replaying events or anticipating the future, it's not always anxiety. It's mental rehearsal. Your brain is preparing you for possible outcomes. This kind of deep mental processing is why intelligent people often excel at problem solving. You see every angle before making a move. You predict results before others even understand the problem. You think in layers, not lines. Of course, this strength can become heavy, because the mind that can build brilliant strategies can also build endless worries. Intelligent people sometimes feel trapped in their own thoughts, a mental maze with no exit sign. But it's important to remember, your mind isn't against you. It's just powerful. It's like owning a high-performance car without proper steering. It can spin out of control. Learning when to hit the brakes is just as important as knowing when to accelerate. You see, intelligence doesn't mean being right all the time. It means being aware all the time. You think about possibilities, intentions, meanings, consequences. That awareness is what makes you careful, cautious, and sometimes overwhelmed. But it's also what makes you emotionally intelligent. You read people deeply. You sense energy shifts. You pick up on unspoken details that others miss entirely. When people say, "Stop overthinking," they don't realize that for a deep thinker, that's like saying, "Stop breathing." Your mind is constantly building, questioning, creating connections. And that's beautiful. The trick isn't to silence your thoughts, but to guide them. Channel your analysis into creation. Write, design, build, teach, or explore. Turn your deep thoughts into deep work. That's where overthinking transforms into overpowering potential. Think of some of the greatest minds in history. Einstein, Da Vinci, Tesla, all of them were accused of thinking too much. But their overthinking changed the world. They weren't overanalyzing. They were decoding the hidden architecture of reality. They didn't see the world for what it was. They saw it for what it could be. So next time someone tells you that you're overthinking, smile. Because what they call a flaw is actually your superpower. You're not stuck in your thoughts. You're sculpting wisdom out of them. You think deeply because your mind refuses to accept shallow truths. You feel deeply because your intelligence is tied to empathy. And here's the secret most people don't know: the deeper you think, the more you grow. Every late night thought, every mental debate, every scenario you imagine, it's sharpening your awareness, expanding your understanding, and preparing you for greater clarity. So don't run from your mind. Master it. Your overthinking isn't confusion. It's creativity. It's not weakness. It's wisdom in progress, because sometimes the ones who think too much are the ones who end up seeing what others never could. Have you ever wondered why your best ideas often arrive when the world is asleep? When everyone else is resting, your mind suddenly wakes up. Thoughts get sharper, creativity flows, and silence becomes your favorite companion. People might call you lazy or unproductive for staying up late, but the truth is, your late night rhythm could actually be a sign of high intelligence. You see, intelligent minds don't always fit into the traditional 9 to 5 rhythm. They have a natural tendency to question, to explore, and to operate outside the ordinary, even when it comes to sleep. Night owls are often people whose brains stay active longer, continuously generating ideas, solving problems, or reflecting on life. For you, the night isn't a distraction, it's a canvas. When the noise of the day fades, your mind finally finds the freedom to roam. There's science behind this too. Studies from various psychology and neuroscience institutes show that people with higher IQs often prefer staying up later. The reason? Their brains crave solitude. Nighttime provides that perfect environment, no interruptions, no small talk, no external pressure, just silence and space. And in that silence, ideas multiply. Thoughts that were blurry in daylight suddenly become crystal clear at 2 a.m. Night owls also have a creative edge. When you're up late, your brain operates differently. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for reasoning and decision-making, relaxes a little, allowing unconventional connections to form. That's why many writers, artists, and thinkers report their biggest breakthroughs after midnight. Their brains blend logic with imagination, fact with feeling, a perfect mix for innovation. But let's be honest, being a night owl isn't easy in a world built for early risers. You're judged for waking up late, misunderstood as unmotivated or careless. But your mind doesn't run slower, it just runs later. You think deeply when others are done thinking. You create when the world is quiet. That's not laziness. That's alignment with your personal mental rhythm. Think about it during the day. Your attention is divided between messages, responsibilities, and endless distractions. At night, none of that exists. The air is still, the world is asleep, and your thoughts finally get a chance to speak. That's why your brain unlocks its full power after dark, because it finally has the bandwidth to focus without interruption. However, like any powerful trait, it needs balance. High intelligence often comes with intense focus, and that means you can easily lose track of time. Before you know it, you're chasing ideas while the clock hits 4 a.m. The next day, you feel drained, not because your mind is weak, but because it's too alive. So the secret is not to fight your night energy, but to manage it. Schedule your creative or reflective tasks for the evening, but also give your body the rest it deserves. True intelligence knows how to work with its rhythm, not against it. And here's another interesting thing about night owls. They're often introspective. The darkness encourages deep thought. You reflect on your choices, your dreams, your purpose. You evaluate life not from pressure, but from perspective. That quiet mental dialogue strengthens emotional intelligence. It makes you more self-aware, more grounded, and more intuitive about what truly matters. Look through history and you'll find a pattern. Many geniuses, from Nikola Tesla to Franz Kafka, from Bob Dylan to Charles Darwin, worked late into the night. Their creativity didn't follow the sunrise. It followed inspiration. They didn't wait for permission to think differently. They trusted their own inner rhythm. So if you're a night owl, don't be ashamed of it. Embrace it. Use that time wisely. Read, write, design, dream. Build ideas when the rest of the world sleeps. Because when everyone wakes up tomorrow, you'll already be steps ahead, not because you worked harder, but because you thought deeper. The world might call it a weird habit, but intelligence often looks weird to the ordinary. So keep creating in the silence, because while the world sleeps, the smartest minds are awake, designing tomorrow in the quiet glow of midnight. Have you ever caught yourself talking out loud when you're alone, maybe repeating your thoughts, explaining your plans, or even arguing with yourself? People might laugh and say you're acting weird, but here's the surprising truth. Talking to yourself is a sign of high intelligence. It's not madness. It's mental organization. Your brain isn't breaking, it's communicating. Intelligent people have active inner worlds. Their thoughts are fast, layered, and complex. Sometimes those thoughts need an outlet, and speech becomes a tool for structure. When you talk to yourself, you're not just saying random words. You're processing information. You're helping your mind clarify what matters, eliminate confusion, and make sense of chaos. It's your brain's way of saying, let's organize this mess before we act. Think about it, you're trying to make a big decision, maybe switching jobs, moving cities, or dealing with someone difficult. You start pacing the room, whispering possibilities to yourself. If I do this, that might happen, but what if I try the other way? You're not being dramatic. You're simulating outcomes, testing logic, and coaching yourself through emotion. That's metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. And it's one of the clearest signs of higher intelligence. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon and found that self-talk helps improve focus, memory, and emotional regulation. When you verbalize your thoughts, your brain gives more attention to them. It's like shining a spotlight on what truly matters. Athletes do it before big games. They say, I can do this. Stay sharp. Scientists do it while experimenting, whispering steps guiding their process. Even children do it naturally when learning something new. It's not odd. It's human evolution at work. Self-talk also reveals something deeper, awareness. Intelligent people don't just move through life on autopilot. They question their actions, assess their emotions, and evaluate their progress. Talking to yourself helps turn unconscious thoughts into conscious understanding. Instead of letting emotions swirl inside, you give them words, shape, and clarity. You're not just feeling, you're analyzing the feeling. And here's where it gets powerful. Your voice carries authority over your mind. The words you speak out loud are louder than the ones you think silently. When you talk to yourself with kindness, strength, and direction, you literally reprogram your brain. You create focus, boost confidence, and stabilize emotion. That's why intelligent people often use self-talk as a grounding technique during stress or confusion. Imagine this. You're anxious about a new challenge, your thoughts are racing, and your mind feels chaotic. Then you take a deep breath and say out loud, I've got this. I've done harder things before. Instantly, the storm slows down. That's not magic. That's neuroscience. The spoken word helps organize neural activity, bringing order to emotional overload. In that moment, your voice becomes your coach, and your calm returns. But yes, to an outside observer, it might look strange. They might joke, who are you talking to? You can smile and think, to the most important person, myself. Because self-conversation isn't a sign of loneliness or instability. It's a sign that you're self-aware enough to listen to your own mind. You don't need an audience to validate your thoughts. You've built one inside your own head. Many great thinkers practiced this habit. Albert Einstein often mumbled to himself while working. Nikola Tesla held full conversations alone while visualizing his inventions. Even philosophers like Socrates encouraged inner dialogue as the highest form of wisdom. They weren't weird. They were wired differently. Talking to yourself means you trust your inner guidance more than outside noise. It means you're capable of reasoning, reflection, and self-correction without external influence. And that's a rare strength in today's loud world. So next time you find yourself muttering ideas, debating options, or encouraging yourself aloud, don't stop. You're not losing your mind. You're leading it. You're practicing clarity in a world full of confusion. Remember this: when average minds stay silent, intelligent ones speak truth to themselves. When others wait for advice, you give it to yourself. When the world doubts you, your own voice becomes your anchor. You're not crazy for talking to yourself. You're wise enough to hold a conversation with the only person who truly understands you. You. Have you ever noticed how quickly you lose interest in things that others seem to enjoy endlessly? Maybe you start a job and master it faster than expected. Then suddenly it feels repetitive, or you're in a conversation and your mind starts drifting because the topic feels shallow or meaningless. You're not lazy or unmotivated, you're just wired differently. You get bored easily because your intelligent mind craves more depth, challenge, and stimulation than the average person. Highly intelligent people are seekers by nature. You're not content with surface-level information. You want to know why things happen, how they work, and what's beneath the obvious. That curiosity drives you forward, but also makes ordinary life feel dull. The same routine, repetitive conversations, or predictable tasks drain you because your mind is built for discovery, not repetition. It's like having a high-performance engine. If it's not challenged, it sputters. This boredom isn't about attention span, it's about mental hunger. Intelligent people have brains that constantly generate new ideas, connections, and questions. When the environment doesn't match that pace, you start to feel trapped, restless, even irritated. You might jump from one hobby to another, explore new interests, or chase new experiences, not because you're unfocused, but because your curiosity refuses to sit still. Society often misunderstands this trait. Teachers may label smart students as distracted. Employers might call them inconsistent. But what they don't realize is that boredom in intelligent people is not apathy. It's potential in disguise. It's the brain's way of saying, I've mastered this level. Give me something new. Think of the people who changed history: Steve Jobs, Leonardo da Vinci, Elon Musk, Marie Curie. They didn't stay confined to one interest. They explored multiple fields, reinvented themselves, and turned curiosity into innovation. They refused to stay bored. Instead, they followed their fascination wherever it led. And that's what made them exceptional. But there's also a shadow side to this. When your mind craves stimulation and doesn't get it, you might fall into frustration, procrastination, or even self-doubt. You might think, why can't I stay consistent like others? The truth is, your consistency isn't broken. It just looks different. Intelligent people stay consistent when they're inspired, challenged, or learning something new. The moment the spark fades, the energy fades too. Here's the key: learn to feed your mind before it starves your motivation. Keep yourself engaged with things that stretch your perspective. Read complex books, take on new challenges, have deep conversations, or dive into creative work. Stimulate your brain intentionally so it doesn't wander aimlessly. Also, understand that boredom can be a signal, not a curse. It tells you when something has served its purpose. It's your internal compass guiding you toward growth. Most people ignore boredom and stay stuck in comfort zones. Intelligent people feel it intensely because their souls are allergic to stagnation. However, don't confuse constant stimulation with constant busyness. Your brain doesn't need chaos. It needs meaning. Learn to balance curiosity with calm. Let silence be your lab and stillness your teacher. Sometimes the most intelligent move isn't doing more, it's going deeper. You might also notice that small talk drains you. That's because your brain is tuned to substance. You crave conversations about purpose, existence, psychology, the universe, topics that stretch thought, not just fill silence. It's not arrogance, it's authenticity. You don't enjoy superficiality because your mind lives in the layers beneath it. So next time you find yourself getting bored easily, don't judge it, understand it. It's not a flaw, it's feedback. Your mind is asking for nourishment, not noise. It's reminding you that you were never built to exist on autopilot. You were built to explore, to question, to create, to evolve. Your boredom is not your weakness. It's your compass. It points you toward growth. It's your inner intelligence whispering, you've outgrown this. It's time to expand. So follow that feeling, try something new, learn something complex, push your limits. Because for intelligent people, life's greatest joy isn't in comfort, it's in curiosity. When you feel bored, it's not the end of your interest, it's the beginning of your evolution. You're not running from routine. You're reaching for something greater. That's not restlessness. That's brilliance waiting to be unleashed. Have you ever felt like you question yourself too much? Like even when you achieve something, a part of you whispers, was it really that good? You might find yourself second-guessing your words after a conversation, replaying decisions, or wondering if you truly deserve the praise people give you. It can feel exhausting, this constant self-analysis. But here's the powerful truth. Your self-doubt isn't weakness, it's a sign of deep intelligence. Let's break this down. Average minds crave certainty. They like clear answers, firm opinions, and simple explanations. But intelligent minds know that life isn't black and white. It's filled with gray areas, nuance, and complexity. So instead of saying, I know, you often say, I think, or I could be wrong. That's not insecurity. That's humility born from understanding how vast reality truly is. The more you learn, the more you realize how much there is left to know. That awareness doesn't make you small, it makes you wise. This is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, a psychological concept describing how people with little knowledge often overestimate their competence, while highly skilled or intelligent people tend to underestimate theirs. Why? Because the smarter you are, the more aware you become of what you don't know. You see the gaps in your understanding, the areas yet unexplored. In other words, your doubt isn't proof of ignorance, it's proof of insight. You see, true intelligence questions everything, including itself. You don't just accept opinions or traditions blindly. You reflect, you analyze, and sometimes you challenge even your own thoughts. You know that certainty can be dangerous because it stops growth. So you stay curious, flexible, and humble, and that humility can sometimes feel like self-doubt. But in reality, it's a form of inner honesty, an unwillingness to lie to yourself. Think of it this way: a fool says, I'm always right. A wise person says, I could be wrong. That sentence alone separates arrogance from awareness. However, the line between humility and insecurity is thin, and intelligent people often struggle to balance it. You might hold back from sharing ideas because you fear they're not perfect. You might downplay achievements because you think they're not impressive enough. You might even silence your intuition because you're afraid of being wrong. But remember, every great mind has wrestled with self-doubt. Einstein once said, the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know. That's not modesty, that's clarity. Even the most brilliant minds, artists, scientists, philosophers, all questioned themselves deeply. Why? Because their standards were higher. They didn't just want to be good, they wanted to understand truth, meaning, and mastery. Self-doubt often lives inside those who hold themselves to extraordinary standards. But there's something beautiful about that. When you doubt yourself, it means you care. It means you're aware of the complexity of things. It means you're thoughtful, not reckless. The world needs more thinkers like you, people who pause before they act, who evaluate before they judge, who seek improvement rather than validation. Still, you must learn to transform that doubt into growth rather than paralysis. Don't let your mind become your own obstacle. Use your doubt as a tool, not a cage. When your brain says, "What if I fail?" respond, "Then I'll learn." When it whispers, "What if I'm not ready?" say, "No one ever is." Let's begin anyway, because intelligence paired with courage becomes unstoppable. You see, confidence isn't the absence of doubt. It's the decision to act despite it, and that's where intelligent people rise above. There's also an emotional intelligence hidden inside your doubt. The fact that you question yourself means you're aware of how your actions affect others. You think about consequences, tone, and timing. That kind of self-awareness is rare. It shows empathy, a sign of higher consciousness. While arrogance blinds people to their impact, your humility helps you stay grounded, kind, and self-aware. But let's be real, self-doubt can hurt. It can make you feel small in moments you should feel proud. It can silence your potential when your voice is needed most. And that's why intelligent people must learn a crucial skill to trust their process, even when they can't trust their perfection. You don't need to have all the answers before you begin. The act of doing teaches more than endless thinking ever will. So, when that inner critic starts whispering, remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. You have the power to question the questioner. Ask yourself, is this doubt protecting me or limiting me? If it's protecting you from arrogance, keep it. But if it's stopping you from progress, let it go. True intelligence learns to balance awareness with action, humility with confidence. It knows that wisdom isn't about never being wrong. It's about being brave enough to keep learning, even when you are. Here's something powerful to remember. The ignorant man thinks he's already there. The intelligent man knows he's still on the way, and the wise one, he keeps walking anyway. So yes, you doubt yourself, but don't confuse that with weakness. Doubt is the fire that forges your clarity. It's the voice that says, keep growing. It's the reason you double, check, reflect, and strive for truth instead of approval. The world doesn't need more people who are sure of everything. It needs more people who are brave enough to question, especially themselves. Your self-doubt is not your enemy, it's your silent teacher, reminding you to stay humble, curious, and aware. So, the next time you start to question yourself, take a deep breath and remind your mind, I'm not uncertain because I'm weak. I'm uncertain because I'm learning. And that is what truly intelligent people do. They keep learning, keep questioning, and keep evolving. Because real intelligence isn't found in certainty. It's found in curiosity. And curiosity, when guided by courage, leads to wisdom. Never be ashamed of your doubt. It's proof that your mind is alive, your awareness is sharp, and your spirit is still growing. So keep thinking, keep questioning, keep moving forward, because the people who doubt themselves most are often the ones the world ends up believing in the most. So if you've ever felt different, too quiet, too curious, too restless, too doubtful, remember this, those aren't flaws. Those are the fingerprints of intelligence. The very things that make you feel out of place are often the same things that set you apart. The world may not always understand why you think so deeply, stay up so late, or question everything. but that's because you were never meant to live on the surface. Your weird habits are the marks of a brilliant, evolving mind. You feel deeply because you understand deeply. You question because you care. You seek more because you see more. So never dim your light to fit into ordinary spaces. They were never designed for extraordinary thinkers like you. Stay curious. Stay humble. Keep questioning even when others stop, because every so-called weird habit you have might just be the reason the world changes. One deep thinker at a time.